Welcome to the Miniatures Paintbrush. Today we're going to do part 3 of the 3-part series of the Lonely Hearts Cottage. I am so excited to come to a final conclusion on creating this cottage that we've been working on for 3 weeks now. So, tell me what you think. Let's get on with it. Alrighty, so let's go into this nice little cottage. Ooh, there's a heart. Oh, maybe I'll find my true love. Hello and welcome back to part 3 of the Lonely Hearts Cottage. I was really worried about getting to this information on time simply because I was feeling very under the weather this weekend and mostly last week. My throat was sore, that's an understatement. It felt like I was breathing in acetone and it formed blisters on the back of my throat to the point where I couldn't eat or drink, so I had IV pumped into me on a daily basis so I don't pass out. Pretty serious stuff. So that's never happened to me before. It was completely different, but I'm back. I feel better. I'm able to drink some water, which is good. Solid food. I'm still working my way up into that. But here I am, and let's get going. Okay, so this build here is interesting. Some of the stuff that I have over here, unfortunately, my camera lost. When I was recording this entire scene, my computer went completely wonky on me. I had no more memory in the computer, and it wanted to die. And I had to wipe everything off my computer and, back up what I can. I bought an external hard drive with 3 terabytes on it, so I should have more than enough room for my projects. And I had to continue from where I left off, and some of the data got missed or destroyed or corrupted, so I couldn't do anything about that. Pardon me. All right, so what I'm doing here is I formulated the door just by cutting some popsicle sticks the size of the door. And then now what I did is put some crossbars in there. And for the door handle, what I did was I found beads and jewelry. I think it was in Walmart where I found these little beads. But you can find them anywhere. When I mean anywhere, I mean, craft stores or hobby stores or even sewing shops. You might find some beadwork there. This one looked like a door handle, so I went for it. That's the only thing. I bought a little package of it. You see it to the right there. And, it looks really, really great. Very, very realistic, which I do like. Okay, so, and then I put the cross members on there, and it looks pretty cool. There it is. Just getting it straight. I'm very particular with that. So there's the front of the house, and I cut it to the dimensions that I had before, and I think I showed you before where I angled the roof to a 45-degree angle, and I made a copy of it from the front and the back, and I painted it exactly the way I painted the sides of the doors. Now what I wanted to do here is I wanted to keep the doors on, or the sides of the house on the inside, while I keep the outside of the house on the outside, and that's because of the roof. I didn't take that into account in the first place. So I kind of did that. It was like a retro kind of fit. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to have to put a roof in there. So the roof's going to have to really be flat, and I don't want any gaps in there because, well, things can get in there, like bugs or stuff, you don't want any gaps where bugs can kind of get in. So I kind of want to seal the house. So that was a concern. So I figured if I'm going to do that, then I want to hide the corner, because there's going to be a lot of like corrugation and stuff like that I really don't, will not look nice. So I figured, hey, if I'm going to frame the house, I'm going to use the same size that I used on the side of the house. So I'm using these planks. These are the popsicle sticks that I had here, and they're the larger ones. Pardon me for clearing my throat. My throat isn't 100% just yet, but it's getting there. I can actually speak now, which is good. All right, so Just to make a note, same effects on the windows that I did with the sides of the house as well. Dark blue into lighter blue, the sky blue, and then white in the middle. And then I put that cross member or frame in there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the frame of the house, the top part there. And what I have here is a miter box, and it's really, really important to use a miter box, which is great. So the first thing I do here is I scribe using a dental tool. And I'm scribing the full length without cutting it, and be very, very careful. I'm cutting it on an angle there. As you can see, I'm not cutting it directly towards myself. And watch your fingers. Just take your time and do it right. You know, if you don't think you can do this, that's fine. You can get somebody else to do it, or even better, you don't even have to do it at all. Some people take scouring pads, like I think SOS is a brand, and they scrape it, or they take a rock and they scrape it. So I mean, it's a little less dangerous that way if you want to do that. Okay. So there are different ways to scribe it. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my template that I did for the angled corners, and I'm just going to draw out what I need. It's as simple as that. I'm going to draw 2 of those, and that's all. You make it really easy when you have a template. It's just so much quicker when you do. And all I'm going to do is, now I have a rough idea of what I want. I'm going to put it into this miter box. And the miter box is great because you can cut on angles, you know, and they're identical each time, which is really cool. So I'm like super careful when it comes to the angles and stuff, so I usually just take my time. Again, that blank space on the top, I learned later that it would have been so much better for my finger if I'd just put like a styrofoam piece or a wooden block just to hold it steady instead of using my finger to hold that steady there in the middle, because using your finger is a lot more dangerous. It's a miracle that I didn't get cut. So use more caution than I did right there. For all other bills, for every single build now into the future, I plan on using a block to hold those things in place, because I'll tell you, especially after I did that thatched roof, it really hurt my finger. I mean, it was pretty bad. My fingers were pretty sore, so you know, I highly don't recommend that. Learn from the mistake over here. And that's cool. I mean, part of this is a journey, and we're learning stuff. And as long as you're more knowledgeable going out of this than you were coming in, then you've achieved your goal. I mean, in my opinion, you've completely achieved your goal. Nothing to worry about. Be very careful here. I use a different saw for this. This saw I got for, it's a hobbying saw. I believe I picked up in a hobby shop. I think XL puts this one out, and it has very fine teeth. Now, when it comes to doing straight lines without a guide, put 1 score in there. Yeah. Once you have a score in there, you basically just work it around that groove. And it takes time to do it this way. It really does. I would not mind the circular saw, like a mini circular saw. I know Proxon puts one out. I might invest in that. I don't know. But possibly around the holiday season, and not now, because I have to save. 40K is coming out. That's a big thing. I'm really interested because I have Space Wolves, and it's one thing to have it, and I bought it because of the aesthetic value, because I really think they look cool, and I'd love to paint them. But, you know, once I have them painted, might as well use them too, right? Shadow War Armageddon, that looks pretty cool. I'm digging the Scataris. I think they look really cool. I don't know if I'll have Valerius Crawl or anything like that. I'm not sure, but probably not for Shadow War, right? So I think I might go with that route. I kind of like the Scatari anyway. I think I like them better than the Necron, only because there's a lot of fiddly bits in there, and I do like the fiddlies. I don't know. Hopefully they're easy to paint. I don't know about their red cloak. I don't know if I have to do it red. I don't know. I don't know too much about the Scutari and information and lore. Well, there it is, 45-degree angle, and this is why we use a miter box, because the cuts are perfectly done, they perfectly align, and it's amazing. So, really, really cool stuff. Okay. It's important to keep your work area clean, so you want to get all that stuff out of there if you can. Um, Very cool. So now what I'm doing is just sanding down the edges. You know, I don't want a whole bunch of edges to get caught or anything like that, so I'll just leave it at that. And it's important to keep things clean. Now, if you wanted to do a raggedy old house, I wouldn't clean it up as such. In fact, I'd scuff it up even more. I wouldn't worry about sanding the edges. But this one, I want it to be used, but, you know, sort of new. I don't know, it's been lived in, but, you know, it's not broke down. It's something that's maintained for the most part because it gets high usage. The name, the Lonely Hearts Cottage, lends to the fact that if you are lonely and looking for companionship, that this is the place to go. And you know, it's not an ale house or something like that. It's a meeting place for two individuals who are lonely and want to get together. All about love, huh? So that is the first building of the series. I might do a tavern next. I don't know. I'm toying around with a lot of different ideas on what I would do. There is that classic ruined building that I want to do. There's always a burnt down house in a village in my mind when it comes to fantasy villages, and there's always a mysterious story behind that, so I do like a story. So this is just, you know, one house in a multiple house series that we can make, and we can build together. So I think it'd be cool. Um, there I am dipping it into that stain. So good to have that stain. That's pretty cool. That the idea came to me. I'm sure I'm not the first person to do this, but I didn't really reference this. I was just like, I got popsicle sticks. They're wood. Hey, you know what? Why don't I just dip them into some finishing, to wood finish? Yeah, just stain it up. So, I mean, I'm happy I got that. And I got a small little stain bottle, and that should last me for the entire village, really. It shouldn't take too much stain. So, if you're going to buy one, this is Midwax. That's the brand that I use. You can use any brand that you like, whatever you enjoy using. There you go. So now as I do, I'm going to measure out the cross member there. Again, keeping in mind that I do have those other two pieces going on the side, so I have to make sure that I am getting the right distance there. Yeah. So, you know, I always try to measure twice and cut once kind of deal. So it's really important that you get the right measurements. So I take my time on it. Trying to see if the template would fit. The template did not fit. I don't think I did a template for that one. Which only means that at some point I'm probably going to have to make the same cut again, and then I'm going to have to make a template for it anyway, so... Oh well. I'll just make it again. Ugh. I totally wish I had that guide. And all it is just a piece of polystyrene that I cut out that was left over from cutting out the chimney, actually, from this build. And it was just a straight line, and I kind of put it in there, and it fit. And I was like, oh man, this is pretty cool. I should have done this a long time ago. So I don't hurt my fingers while I put it into the miter box. But sometimes these things get stuck too. Be careful with that. And this one I have to press extra hard to do it. So be careful with that. Alright, so measuring it, it looks pretty cool. Looks like everything will fit perfectly. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it to the opposite side here. Really important that I get the right measurements. And again, do it to the opposite side. Now that is going to be tricky. Ugh, that is so dangerous. Please just get something to hold it straight instead of doing it like that. Oh my graciousness. Super dangerous. Don't do it like that. Super miracle. I did not cut myself. Look at that. Look at that. Mr. Butterfingers did not cut himself. Oh. So yeah, I mean, really enjoyed building this. This is great, great opportunity. I wanted to use the airbrush to complete the effects on it. Um, I like that because mostly when you work with styrofoam, your tendency is to want to go cheap. And when you want to go cheap, you can get like a really cheap rattle can of something. But the thing is the propellants inside rattle cans. And when I say rattle can, I mean like rattle can paint that has that little ball in there, and you kind of agitate her and you kind of shake it up, right? So when you have that, that kind of propellant melts styrofoam. So you may have to do a couple extra steps and coat it, Mod Podge coat it. Um, there are certain kind of like protectants or varnishes you can use on top of it, and you can brush that on, and then you can paint it up. But I don't know. I guess it was just so much easier, and since I already have like a ton of Stynylrez primer, I just figured I'd just prime it up with my airbrush, which saves a whole bunch of time. Plus, it has a whole bunch of control, and I could really do the effects on it. Now, I wouldn't recommend that if you're doing tiles for a dungeon, only because if you have thousands of tiles, then you're gonna spend quite a bit on more um, some more primer. But you know, Stynylrez is reasonably affordable. I mean, $10. And honestly, with through an airbrush and stuff like that, I mean, I've done all the miniatures that I have done for the past 4 years now, and including now this terrain and everything else. I'm not even a quarter of the way of that bottle that you see there in the background right next to the midwax. I'm not even a quarter away of that bottle, you know? So I'm not really worried about it. I mean, $10. $10 for 4 years? Yeah, I think honestly, with the propellants, when you shake the rattle cans and you spray it, let's say if each one of those things costs you like $2, right? $2 for a rattle can, not too crazy, right? Um, and you go out there and you do like a couple of houses and some tiles and stuff like that. It doesn't really last that long, you know, because more of the paint is coming out more rapidly. You know, that is superiorly rapid release. Now, if you control how much primer comes out at a time, you can adjust it to just what you need and not have these massive amount of paint come out. If I had the same amount of paint, I think of the same amount of paint that is in without the propellant inside a rattle can, I wonder how much that would be equivalent to. I wonder how many ounces of paint is actually in there, and how much is in there as propellant, and how much is in there as the rattle can orb that they're using. So, you know, how much of that is paint? I wonder if it's equivalent to that bottle that I have right back there. I don't know. No, but still, that Sonorez does last a long time. Now, some people use Vallejo. I haven't used Vallejo. I heard it's really awesome too. I like Sonorez because it levels itself. So if there's a bump or something like that, I'm like, oh no, there's orange peel, there's a bump. Orange peel looks like if you spray too much, like a rattle can, and it has little divots and mountains and valleys, and it actually looks like the skin of an orange, and your paint job. That's pretty bad, you know, for a paint job. So even if you get that sort of effect on the Stynylrez, doesn't really matter too much because it'll level itself. You know, I never had a problem with it. It was always smooth and clear. Now, putting that much paint onto an area, you may have to consider that you're going to lose detail like, scribed lines or, facial features. Like, I wouldn't recommend putting that much paint onto anything miniature related or painting or anything in this hobby. Like, I wouldn't see why that would be necessary at all. If you want to come up with a texture, then um, of like globs of stuff coming down, you don't have to do it with paint. You could just put a lot of glue on there and don't wipe it off so it's not even. So you have globs of stuff, and then paint that, or Mod Podge or something like that. Just create clumps of stuff, or if you want stuff running down, like I could say slime or something like that, I would put glue on the top and then just let it run down and then put a glue on the top again as that dries, and then keep on doing that until you have these streaks of whatever it is, slime or whatever it is coming down, like from the side of a building or something like that, or maybe a canister that's leaking out some ooze or something like that. You can have that effect, but I'd use glue. I wouldn't use paint, because glue is a lot less expensive than paint per ounce. So you kind of want to conserve there. Here what I'm doing is I am just measuring up and seeing if I want to put a design on the top. I decided against it. Nah, I didn't like it too much. It was like this cartoon Voltron that I used to watch. Actually, I think they have a new episodes on Netflix. Cool stuff, by the way. Go Lions. Alrighty, so this should be just about ready over here. Usually I let these things dry for 24 hours, but, yeah, good enough, I want to get this build done. And once I put it up there, I kind of just throw some more varnish on top if I wanted to. Not a real big deal. Again, if you want it perfect, let it dry for 24 hours. I was kind of anxious to get this build done, so I went for the shortcut. Yep. I think other buildings, well, I mean, I'll show you the other buildings as I make them. But as far as the process, as far as like painting the walls, I'd only show you new stuff. Like I'll just show you, okay, so I build the side of the wall. If you want to see how to build the side of a wall, check out this video, and I'll just link it. I'll put those little cards on the top. I think they're kind of neat. Which I learned how to do not so long ago. I also learned how to do the little cards on the bottom of the screen where it says, tap on these videos if you haven't seen them. That's pretty cool. I didn't know how to do that. I was fiddling around with it. I'm like, oh, look at this. Everything's a discovery for me, so it's fun, Yeah, it's cool that I don't know everything because then I can get to know a lot of things. So that's pretty cool. And that's part of the fun, in my opinion. Alright, so I just kind of want to get it even to the top. I don't want it interfering with the roof when I put that on there. So I think it's looking really good. We've got to put the cross member in there too. Just make sure, the glue gun, you want to get it straight. And you have to consider, like, even if it's that big, you see how the side pillars are large? It's relatively smaller size when you want to go up to the side. I wonder how that works. I thought it would be the same size, but it's not. So keep that in mind. Alright, so I'm going to put this one here. Let's see if it all fits. Ooh, I hope it all fits. Looks like it does. Let's see. Rob, get your hands out of the way. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. Very, very cool. Alrighty. So let's hot glue gun that. Yeah, the glue gun that I'm using is called the Ultimate Glue Gun. I think I got it for 12 bucks. I mean, it's a 30-buck one, but I got like discounts upon discounts at AC Moore. It's huge. I have Butterfingers. I like it. There's another one. It's called the CNC Better. That's the one DM Scotty used. If you haven't checked out his dungeon tiles and tilescapes and stuff like that, check that out. I mean, he is pretty cool. Another terrain building person, Wyloch. He's really cool too. I mean, I really like his ideas for tiles. He's very meticulous like I am. I do like that. And also Black Magic Craft. Very cool. Also, terrain builder. Mel, the terrain tutor, another one. that is really cool that I recommend. So if you're into terrain, oh man, these guys are pretty awesome. There's one called the DMG. Hmm, he seems kind of cool. Yeah, you can get your own opinion about that. I don't know. I have to look at him a little bit more. I have to do more research, but he seems cool. Is there any other ones I can think of? I can't really think of any just right now. Oh, Nillabean. He's a 3D printer. Uh, his show is amazing. Like he's inspiring me to want to get a 3D printer, But as far as budget's concerned, I really wanted to be conservative with that. But no, there's this new printer that he came out. I think it was 160 something bucks, and that's delivered for a 3D printer that gives good quality prints. Of course, there are modifications you can put down so this way the fan doesn't sound so loud and all this other kind of stuff. You can add to it, of course, but that's the right price. Now look at that front of the house, man. It looks pretty cool. Oh, yeah, I got to frame the door. I got to frame the windows as well. But it's coming out really nicely. I really like that. So yeah, Nillabean, you gotta check that out. Okay, that is pretty awesome. Actually, he's kind of local to me, and he really breaks things down, like scientifically breaks all the steps and processes down, and I really like that because I am super meticulous, and he's real approachable and he's real amazing. So yeah, I couldn't recommend it any more than I can. Check out that website, Nillabean. I think I'll put a link in the uh, description down below. Um, so yeah, links in the descriptions to all the other YouTube sites that I mentioned for terrain. They're really cool and worth and an inspiration to me. Um, so yeah, definitely pretty cool. Look at the way it's all coming together. Oh, I love that. I love the aesthetic of it. I love that creating and putting together. These blocks that I'm using here, 1, 2, 3 blocks, or I don't know, there was another name for it, but it's 1, 2, 3 blocks, and they just keep everything even. They're very heavy blocks, and I think I've seen it used on this another YouTube site called Tested. Um, they were like the two parts of the Myth Brothers show. I think it's Discovery Channel, and this is the one with the mustache with the curlies. I think that's the dude. And he does this another one called Tested. And I know he was building a house out of styrofoam, and he used these 1, 2, 3 blocks. So I said, you know what? Worth the investment, especially if I'm going to be building terrains and houses and stuff like that, just to keep things even. Now, as I put these together, I noticed that there's a gap between the front of the house and the side. I didn't account for that gap because at first I wanted to put the sides of the house on the outside and not on the inside. But since I had to really consider the roof, I had to switch the plan and put them on the insides. So, my 1, 2, 3 boxes keep it nice and even, straight, and there you go. That's what I really do like about those blocks. And you can get those on Amazon, and that's where I got them. I think Anytime Tools puts them out. Anytime Tool 1, 2, 3. If you do a search for that on Amazon, I think you'll come up with it. I guess one of these days I'm going to put like an Amazon store link that if you buy from that store link, I can get a percentage of that. I know a lot of people do that, and it's not like I'm selling the item. I'm not. It's just I have everything that I use on my YouTube channel in one spot, on one website, on one page, that you can just order it exactly what I ordered if you want to and feel so inclined to order exactly what I ordered. If not, you don't have to. It's not a big deal. All right, this is for scale. There's a Malifaux miniature out front. He seems like his hand would hold on to that door. Seems about right with the windows, that he'd be able to look out of it a little bit on the higher scale, but that's okay. Seems fine to me. In this village, you'd have to accommodate for other people too, not just Malifaux figures. But trolls and all that kind of things, and giants and stuff. That's why I feel. So the door needs to be a little bit bigger. Alrighty. So now that the scale works out, and I'm happy with that, now it is time to glue in the middle pieces right there, which I have compensated for by putting little and cutting little pieces of wood there. So there you go. I have that in there. Kind of want to try to get it as flat as possible. Again, this is retrofit. So that's all I'm trying to do here is retrofitting. Trying to get everything out, trying to make it as flat as possible. Yep. So it's looking pretty good. When you're using glue, you got to watch out for those spider lines. And the spider lines are when you remove the glue from the glue stick and you pull the gun away, then what you got to do is it's like this little string that comes out in there, which there has to be something I can use with that string. I think I can make spider webs or something like that out of them, or you know what, there's some people that use it as like dripping saliva out of like this really bad monster. You could just use that, you know, it's just like drippy things. That might be something I might want to look into, especially if I do like any kind of Nurgle-y stuff, which I'm not very good fan of. Like if I had a Nurgle Let's Get Started box, right? I don't think I would play the faction. I think that I would use it for a D&D campaign or something like that. Because, I mean, the models are great, you know? The models are really, really good and gory and very enemy driven, and if like you want to exterminate it, you want to fight against it. So I do like that in an adventure campaign that I can have, which you know I haven't DM'd in a very, very long time, and 5th edition does look appealing to me. Maybe I'll do that, but right now, one goal at a time. My goal is to win the Crystal Brush at Adepticon. And when I say win, I mean bronze is cool with me. Like I don't need to do best in show. That is, I don't know. I don't think I could achieve that. I don't know. I'd have to be quite lucky, I have to say. But bronze, I'd be like, wow, you know, there's a nobody that made it into something, you know, because I don't really think I'm particularly talented. I just keep trying really hard to get better. I think eventually I'll keep getting better and better to the point where I can get to a bronze. But okay, just looking over all the woodwork that we did throughout the house. I didn't frame that door and I didn't frame the window just yet, so I think I realized that, and I'll do that in just a bit. But so far so good. It's looking good. Alrighty, so now it's time to frame that front of the house there. So we're going to do that as well. Yep, time to frameola the house. Yeah, so it looks really good. I mean, I really like the way it's turning out. Now, some of the airbrush stuff for the corners and stuff like that, you're going to see it's going to get covered. And that's okay because if you look at it, look at the top there, it's peeking through. So it gives that 3D kind of effect. So I'm not really concerned about, you know, it being perfect and getting every ounce of effort in. What I'm doing is a painting technique, which is called layering. When you're going to put one thing on top of the other thing so it looks like that other thing is in the background, then you'll have a 3D effect. So this is layering when it comes to terrain building. So there's the sides there. Now that actually accommodated, I'm going to have to, when I glue this on, I think I had to cut it back just a bit because it peeked through too much. So I cut that back just a tad. Yeah, I don't think I show you right here, but I thought that was too big. See how it overlapped? That bothered me. So I kind of ripped that off and cut it back just a little bit and then put it back on so this way it can be straight. But for the purposes of this video right now, yeah, I mean, it works. It's not like it doesn't work. So that's pretty cool. Or did I cut that back already? I really can't tell from this far back. But I kind of wanted it to be even, just like on the sides, you know. I didn't want it to be perfect because, you know, I can imagine the builders of this house weren't perfect. So And you got holes and gatches throughout all that. So, and if you look at the door, I purposely didn't put the bars going straight down, the wood bars going perfectly straight. So, not really concerned about perfection as much. And a little more imperfection gives it more character. You could have given it shutters, now that I think about it. I guess you can give it shutters if you want to. But I kind of just wanted to frame it, thick framed wood. It's just what I wanted to do. Again, your option. If you're building this, I mean, that's the beauty about building terrain and stuff like this, is that you can put whatever you feel like into it, and that's what you get out of it. So, I think that's pretty cool. Add your own character to it, have your own style to it. Like, again, I don't like building the exact same thing twice. I don't know, that just, I get bored. I don't like getting bored. I have to change everything up just a little bit. That's just me, my personal thing. I guess if I ever took a commission, which I've never done, and they just want like tabletop quality, and I'm not really thinking about it, I think it would bother me, but it all depends on the deadline, For me, when it comes to painting and stuff like that, I always kind of want to improve. So, I'm going to keep pushing myself. And Mr. Vince Venturella, he's always saying that nothing pushes you more as a painter than competition. And that's true. Because right now I'm building this Mortis engine, and I am doing things that I would have never had the gall to attempt before. So I'm really having a lot of breakthroughs through this. So if nothing else, I mean, I am going for best in show, but if nothing else, then at least I learned some stuff, Be quite cool. Entering the bad boy into a competition. Now, this Road to Crystal Brush show, I'm not really that concerned about showing my work, It's not the actual crystal brush. Now, if I had an entry for the actual crystal brush, then I would definitely, that's without a doubt, I would definitely not show anyone anything or leak anything. I don't think so. I mean, I'm not that confident. And maybe a teaser. But because I do like sharing things with you guys. But yeah, I don't want to reveal my whole thing, and then people like, oh, he's doing that, so I'll combat it with this, or they already have an idea of what I'm doing, so I can't surprise them, and my chances for getting that bronze is lessened or whatever, Or somebody can paint it quicker than I do and get the entry and make it look exactly the same, so it looks like I copied them. People are strange. When you're a stranger, they do strange things in competition. You never know what they'll do, so don't say it'll never happen to me. A little bit of Jim Morrison, The Doors there, huh? My own version. All right, so what we have here is called chipboard. Chipboard. This I got strictly because of the Wyloch YouTube videos, and he said to use chipboard, and he actually had a link to it there. I got it from Amazon, and it's literally called chipboard, and it's like a carton, like a really heavy paper, but stronger than that. It's like a cardboard without corrugation. I guess there's an equivalent of plywood that's kind of like all thrown together, a particle board. Yeah, like particle board. Particle board is for wood, but this is like styrofoam. You see, it's really tough. It's not supposed to bend so easily, which is good because that's what I want to use for a base. I don't want it to bend. every time I build something, for some reason it bends. So I kind of want to avoid that. Well, sometimes with these bad boys here, you got to see if the blade is good or not. You don't want to cut 20 million times. And when you're cutting chipboard, you don't want to do it in one pass. Kind of just glide it several different times. If you ever wanted to see how to change one of these bad boys, um, these snap blades, that's what they're called. Um, this is how you do it. Kind of put it in thing, insert it, put it into a hole, insert it into there, and then cap it on the back, and you're done. And you can actually use different. It's really important that you use clean blades, you know, ones that are sharp, because if they're not sharp, then you're pushing harder to break through to whatever you're trying to cut. And if you're doing that, the chances of you applying all that pressure could mean that at the end of it you might backfire or get caught. You add even more pressure, and then it just like jolts into you, and that can be very, very dangerous. So something you kind of want to avoid if possible. Alrighty. So yeah, take your time with it. Take your time. Kind of want to have it straight. Follow that line. Always take my time when cutting. Always feel like it's super important to do it, to take your time and do it right. Yep. I mean, essentially, that's how you avoid accidents, by taking all the precautions necessary. Pardon me. Throat's still not 100%, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I can talk now. There was a time where I just couldn't, so it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Talking, breathing was pretty painful. But cool stuff. Today, I'm actually going to buy a brand new mask from 3M, and it has a 2 cartridge setup where it can really filter the air. So this way, if I'm ever working on anything, I'm always going to be wearing that mask no matter what. Because after going through this amount of pain, trust me when I say you don't want any part of that, any part of it at all. All right, now here we're going to match this up, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut out some ready board, which is cool. And this is the styrofoam that I had just left over. It's the original styrofoam that I actually had from the first build when I did stairways and elevated walkways. So I still have that styrofoam piece. And that's the one I passed from hand to hand, and it got all messed up and whatnot. But yeah, I finally used it. See, it's all messed up. I don't even care if it was messed up. I'll add character to it because it's going to be for the basing of the building. So we're going to add a whole bunch of stuff to it. And that's always fun. So we're at my second table. I do have an office table where I keep a very larger mat than the small mat that I usually cut on the in the painting spray booth. I usually do most of my recording in this paint spray booth. Simply because I have the lights set up from Easy Flow. I have the lights set up there, so that's where I usually do most of my recording. But over here, I just turned one around, so it's maybe a little bit darker image, but that's okay. I think you can see it clearly here. Again, with styrofoam, you don't want to do it on your first pass, and if you have to take too many passes and it comes out, it doesn't come out straight, or it pills up on you, then you're going to need a new blade. That's an indication right there. So make sure it doesn't pill up on you. I put the tip in there, and I just gently go around the sides. And I go around several passes till I cut the paper on the other side. Cut the paper on the other side. Oh, I'm done. I'm done. I am done. All right, literally. Okay, back to the smaller. See how the smaller cutting board right there? Just think it's so much easier for the spray paint booth. And that spray paint booth I kind of made myself, so with help. So first thing you want to do is you want to take the paper off. Now sometimes these paper, it's supposed to be really easy to peel off because they're so cheap. Sometimes these give me a problem. I don't know. I think the black ready board doesn't give me as much of a problem as the white ones. I think they changed the glue formula, which really stinks. Um, I liked it when it was lower quality and you could just rip these suckers off without a problem. But look, it's giving me an issue. I wonder if I put it into water, that'll help or hurt. I don't know. Maybe if I no, I don't know. I can imagine if I put a heat source on it, that'd make it worse. I don't know. I hope not. I should contact DM Scotty for that. Speaking of which, DM Scotty, if you haven't seen recently, posted a video about D&D and how shows that are professionally produced are could be hurting D&D hobby. Like, I can see that the expectation might be a bit much and that people might get overwhelmed by that kind of level, but I think basically it's an inspiration to me anyway. I mean, it does help me. And if anything that gets more people into the hobby, then that I'm all for that. So if you kind of see this and you say, "Wow, that is amazing. I'm going to make it my own and do it my own way." But then again, I'm a pretty confident person, so I don't get intimidated easily. Although I look at the crystal brush and I'm like, "Oh my goodness." So there are things that do intimidate me. Um, but I'm still going for it. I mean, that is not going to stop me. That'll never stop me. I don't get scared of things. No time for fear. Because if you live your life in fear, you never really live your life. Unfortunately, you know, you have to take some chances sometimes. Sometimes the risks pay off. Really important. So what I'm doing is I'm chamfering this. Chamfering. I'm just cutting it at an angle. And I got a little zealous there. And what you're going to do is that's going to simulate like a hillish kind of thing. So, yeah, I went a little crazy on the last one. So, try to be a little more conservative here. See if I can do this. Ah, yeah. Alrighty. So yeah, that's cool. No, don't cut towards yourself, silly. My goodness. I'm so reckless sometimes. Yeah, it's a cut away from yourself. Always try to cut away from yourself. There you go. I tell you, I think that's why I come up with a lot of injuries because I just sometimes I'm getting a little careless there. Oh, don't. Wow, that was scary. And I do it twice, dude. I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll learn. All right, let's see how it fits on the board here. That's pretty cool. Might have to cut it back just a little bit. I don't know. Does it fit? Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think that's good. I don't think we need to cut it back at all. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff, man. Pretty cool. Alright. I love victories like that. Alright, now that we have it, we're going to glue it down. Make sure that it's all clean. Here it is. Here's the pattern. Just putting it on quickly. Now, this glue dries quickly, so you kind of want to set it. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. No. Okay, come on. Lift. Set it right. Set it right. Does it set? I guess. I don't know. I might have to fill in some gaps in there. I'm gonna have to cut this sucker off right here. There you go. That'll work. See how easy that is? You can adjust it any way you want. Maybe cut that little piece off right there. Yeah, that'll work. There you go. So don't cut through your finger, dude. Again, some holy miracle that I did not cut myself throughout this whole thing. Like, really. Now, since I put that and it dried that first time, and it left a little gap there, I'm going to fill that up some more, just like that. There you go. Now, one thing I should have done, I didn't do, is I should have just like put some heavy object on top of it and just leave it there like a textbook or something like that, or a couple of textbooks like overnight or something. But I didn't do that. Again, the reason I'm doing these sides here is one, I don't like gaps, and two, it's because the first time I put it down, you seen that it kind of dried a little and kind of like made a gap in the middle. You had some air in there, so because that dries super quick. All right, well, there you go. There you go. And that's how it is done. So I should have blown out everything. I can imagine myself doing that. Anywho, looks pretty good. I don't have a problem really. Just getting around to access like spiderweb kind of things. And I'm gonna dry fit it again. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see where I'm gonna put this. Oh, that's pretty cool. And part of this, you kind of wanna get the house in first before you do too much of the bottom. I mean, I'm gonna paint it. I'm gonna paint the bottom, but before I put any grit or anything like that on it, probably just gotta glue this down. Only because I don't want any like sand on the inside and stuff. So it fits. That's pretty cool. I think the next step here is going to be painting. So there you go. I have the Steiner Res. I'm going to give it a nice coat of. Again, so much easier than using a rattle can. And look at the control. I can put as much paint as I want. I'm just like layering it on and getting a little thicker at a time, not have to worry about it. The airbrush I'm using is an Iwata. It's a Neo, and has a trigger on the side. That allows you view straight through the top. I don't know. It's the first airbrush that I've ever gotten, and I got it for a present for my lovely wife and family, who all chipped in for it. It was pretty cool. And as you can see, it works pretty well. Usually use it for like very, very large items, and possibly when I'm modeling in cars and stuff like that. It does use more paint than the gravity-fed one. So keep that in mind when choosing an airbrush. So yeah, you definitely want to build it up. Now, rattle can or airbrush? I go for airbrush. I have a lot of rattle can stuff. That being said, I have textured paint from Rust-Oleum, and I want to look into that. I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this on first, and then coat it with Mod Podge, and then spray that on, just to make sure that all the styrofoam is covered. Because once the styrofoam is covered, then you could spray on top of it, because you're essentially not spraying on the actual, styrofoam. You're spraying on the primer or the sealant that you're using, which protects the styrofoam from melting. Because that's exactly what happens. It melts. Same thing happens if you put acetone on it. It'll melt. It's a chemical reaction, and it'll keep reacting. I also found out that if you put acetone on something and melt it and create an effect like that, I did it for a swamp, and you don't allow enough time for that stuff to really cure. When I say really cure, I'm talking about a week. I would say a good week before you put. I put some Woodland Sea Mix water, realistic water down there, and that sucker bubbled up, which is cool for a swamp. You have these swamp bubbles coming up, but they've really bubbled up because of the chemical reaction, So you may want to consider that. You use that to your advantage, or be aware that it's there, so this way you don't stop and stare at your wild hair. I think that it's fair. Let me stop. I'm done. I'm done. Fun times. Alright, so I'm not really that concerned about the middle. I think I get the middle anyway. I don't know, whatever. Just so it could be complete. But I'm not really that concerned with the middle because that's going to get covered anyway, you know? But just to be complete, I got everything. It's like, whatever. At this point, if you're going to build like one of those buildings that the top comes off, you are going to detail this the ready board in the middle and put some like stonework or whatever it is that's in there. Just keep that in mind. But not me. I'm going to cover over everything. So, and I think it covered over pretty nicely. And I'm getting over the edges again. Just at this point, I put so much stone res in there that I kind of just want to use it up. So I use it all up. So, I mean, that's good. I'm going to get the edges of it too. Not just the top, but you kind of want to get the edges of it too, because in this way, when you look at it on the side, you don't see like the chipboard and color and stuff like that. So you may want to hit that too. Keep that into consideration. You know, going straight down to the bottom as well. So this way it looks good. And you know, think about it when you're doing a lot of light coats. You know, you may have to, yeah, you got to pass over it more than once. So keep that in mind when doing these. But again, you have all that control. It doesn't take a lot of paint to cover everything like it really would. And this is all diluted, so there's a lot of water in there too. You want to take that in consideration. I always water everything down before I put it through an airbrush. You know, even if it says I'm ready for airbrush, still, you know, I dilute it. I just do. I mean, it may cause more time and doesn't have the coverage that you're looking for, I guess. It's the first time. But you know what? I'd rather do it in multiple passes than one pass and gradually bring it up anyway. In case I make a mistake, I could always fix that mistake. So, important stuff. So, yeah. Yeah, this is pretty covered. And it's pretty black there. And I would guess that if you're going to spray paint this stuff, you're going to want it that thick. You know, you're going to want it applied very, very thickly. And even with that, I would still Mod Podge it. You know, because I really don't want to ruin. You really don't want to ruin your work after you put this much effort into it. You know, then you'd have to, you know, start over again, put some more chipboard. And, you don't want to do that. Not if you're already at this stage. And, you know, time is of the essence. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to have some muddy brown. I think that's muddy brown. We'll put that in the airbrush as well. Again, put some water in there to dilute it. And just going to give it that undercoating of that muddy brown. Remember, always test it before you use it. So, and I don't even think this is completely dry. I think I was just like wet blending, whatever, you know. Again, for the purpose of getting it done for this video, figured, okay, now I spent a lot of time on this Lonely Hearts Cottage, you know. I want to get into other things too, so kind of just want to get it done. So there you go. No particular order. All this stuff is going to get covered by greenery anyway. This is for, you know, any bits and pieces that are not going to be covered by greenery. That's what this is for. So this is just like the underground. And I'm going to hit it with green too. I think I hit it with leaf green after this one. So it doesn't take too much. I mean, it takes a little bit because it's the black and you're trying to cover the black, but that's about it. But look at it. It's just not really a big deal. It's just misted on there. So what I'm going to do is get some of that muddy brown, put that in there, and then I think I put some leaf green in there because leaf green is really, really bright. So I kind of want to muddy it up just a little bit more. See if it comes out. Yeah, there it is. It's that green-brown mix. You know, I think it's 1-to-1. Trying to get that in there. Again, trying to make it look more groundish, more ground colored. And just going around the edges, really. Don't really need the middle because the middle is going to get covered, so it doesn't matter. As you can see, I'm very, very lackadaisical about how I put it on there. Just throwing it on there, no big deal. I know it's going to get covered. This is if a piece doesn't get covered, at least it looks like dirt or ground underneath. You know, it just like blends in. And that's the whole thing, just trying to trick your eye to make sure that things blend in. That's it's one of the things about painting miniatures, you know, you kind of trick the eye saying, okay, this isn't plastic, this is actually metal, and the metal is purple, and it shines. But the plastic miniature doesn't shine, and it's not even metal, you know, and purple metal, that's not really that common, right? Especially like armor, or whatever, you know? So you're tricking the eye to seeing what you wanted to see as the artist, and that's the whole point, you know? Doing a light study, you see where the light's coming from, see how it reacts, and mimic that so this way it looks like something it's not. And if your mind associates something with that, then it's going to believe that it's there, you know? That's the whole point of the illusion. All right. So we're getting past the hour mark now. I'm getting closer to the end. I think this video in total is like 1 hour 10 minutes. So got about 9 more minutes left on this, which is not bad. And you know, you can be wondering how in the world am I going to get the roof and everything completed in time, right? So we're going to see, right? We're going to see how I do if I get everything completed in time. Okay. So what I did was doing here is you want to clean out the airbrush as best you can. I'm going to get that green in there. And just now it's not a 50-50 mix. Now it's just like pure leaf green. And again, there was water down there. So I'm just going to hit that. And with this color there, and just trying to get that variation. It doesn't have to be everywhere. Green is more like mossy. So you want to get some moss. You don't want the entire ground being covered in moss, but you do kind of want, you know, little bits in here showing greenery, especially since I'm going to flock this. So there's going to be green. And if there's a batch that I miss, you're going to see the dirt, you can see some more green, maybe some smaller grass growing in or something like that. And that's what it'll represent. Alrighty. So again, it's just a mist here and a mist there. Just try to get it a little green. Definitely green along the walls there. Again, I think it came out pretty cool. So I'm just experimenting with these colors anyway, you know? So I don't know what looks right or perfect. I just kind of went for it, see what happened. Just throwing things here and there. And you can play around with yours, you know, if you're building yours. Just have some fun with it, man. Just like a little bit of color here, a little bit of color there, and see what happens. See if you like it. If you don't like it, add some more somewhere else. And there it is. A little pattern there, a little bit of green. Doesn't take too much, really, for it to look pretty natural. And you kind of want it to look kind of natural. Let's take a look. I'll put this on there. That's cool, you know, but I kind of want to flock that, so yeah, move that up a little bit. This is where I realized that, you know, I don't have too much room to work with on that base there. I thought I did, but I cut quite a bit of it out. So when I glue it down together, it's going to have to be pretty precise, you know. That's a little scary, but it could happen. We can make it happen, right? Okay. Well, I dry fit things all the time. and several times just to get it right. So I can wrap my head around what it is that we need to do and accomplish. Um, just drop something. That's better. Okay, so it looks good. Again, dry fitting it again, making sure that everything fits. And after so much work you put into it, you don't want it to fall apart on you, you know. So, and I do have to glue it on. So let's see if we're ready for the big, huge gluing the top onto the bottom. Okay, now that I got the concept, I think I got it. I think I got it. I think I got it. I'm going to put some glue all over the bottom of it. And then I'm just going to set it down, set it down, set it down, set it down. Come on, come on. Easy, 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 easy. Did I get it? 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 Shh. Take a look at it. Looks good. Looks good. And then I just hold it there. There you go. There you go. You're gonna look at that. Looks pretty good. Get the spider webs off them. Glue webs. Yeah, pretty awesome. Definitely what I wanted to do. Very happy with that. Okay, 4 more minutes to show you how I did the roof. I didn't show you how to do every single thatch of the roof. That would be insane. Okay, so I put some flocking on there, which I just put some PVA glue, some Elmer's glue. I think I used white glue. And I left the door vacant there. And I'm using a shop vac, or I'm sorry, a shark. And when you actually put that down, you use the shark, not only does it get the excess grass off, but it kind of makes the grass stick straight up. You know, that's without a static grass applicator. Okay, so really quickly, you get a template there, and you want to cut it. See, then you have to draw a line, and you just get that throughout the bar. Throughout the popsicle stick. All right, and you can do several like that. But once you got one down, you put one right next to it, right there, and then you could just draw in the rest of the thatching. So that's how you do the thatching, okay? So it's really, really simple on how to do it. See how quick that is? Once you have a template, you really fly through this stuff. But there's quite a bit of cutting involved. Like a superior amount of cutting involved. So there you go. You got to cut the pieces. You got to put them on. They're not straight. They're not anything like that. So you don't have to worry about it too much. Yep. So it's looking good there. Again, using that technique, really quickly getting it done, and adding the thatching to the roof. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing how this is all coming out. And all I have to do is, when you cut the roof there, just cut an angle enough for the chimney on the top, and that's pretty much it. There it is. Just getting it on. You want to glue it on. You got to see all that spider web on there. You see that? That's why you might want to use that as a spider web somewhere else. Look how cool that is. But I'm not using it in this video. I'm just kind of taking it off. And then, what I do is I just kind of wash it. I brushed some stain onto it. And, that's it. That's it. And this is the last piece of the Lonely Hearts Cottage. Once I do that and glue it onto the roof and then just stain the top, it is done. All right. Well, it's been a long journey, but it was totally worth it. look at the quality of the piece. And again, you can add to this any way you'd like. You can put wagon wheels on the side, or basins, or mops and brooms, or something like that to embellish it as much or as little as you'd like. It's up to you, really, and it's up to your imagination and your creativity. You can look at pictures of old-style houses and see what they had out there. You can look at references, like video games, or pictures, or movies. And whatever you want to add to it, have some fun. And if you do create your own, why don't you post a link of a picture or something like that, put it down in the comments, let me know. It'd be awesome. Well, I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and I hope it motivates you to build your own terrain. Well, if you liked the video, like, subscribe if you want some more, and share with others that you think might enjoy this. Well, I'll catch you next time on the Miniatures Paintbrush.